Yeah, fine.
Who is bowling?
Every time the umpire.
Baller's name?
You got it. Sinha. Sinhi. Okay.
Sinha.
I will do
SINH.
one over with you, right?
Austria!
Okay, so that's one, small
Leg
one,
bias.
yeah. Leg bias, you have to signal. So always watch what the umpire
Yeah.
does.
Who is Sinha?
Captain. No, Vice Captain Shweta Sinha.
Number 5.
Leg bias, yeah. Either you keep the. How do you want it to be? Knowing the score, or
I want to know the score.
so it's one. So that's always a one.
आ रहे हैं लाइव मैसेज आ रहा है
मेरे को नहीं आ रहा
ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਬੋਲ ਤੇ
सिंगल
बैटिंग ਤੇ ਕੌਣ ਸੀਗਾ
Leg by first.
बैट
So leg by
Bushra
first. Then dot.
oh sorry leg by first leg by
ਹੁਣ ਕੌਣ ਹੈ ਬੈਟਿੰਗ ਤੇ
Andrea
ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬੂਸਰਾ ਸੀਗੀ
Bushra leg by
ਆਇਆ ਬਾਈ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਬੋਲ ਓਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਡਾਟ ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਇਆ ਲਾਈਵ
ਇਹ ਡਾਟ
Okay, no dot.
Four se queda.
There's a pair, yeah.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆ
What you can also do is also write numbers there if you want to.
भेज दो
You
लिंक
can
कौन व्हाट्सएप का मेरा
do the next three balls underneath there.
सेकंड डॉट
Another dot.
थर्ड डॉट
Yeah,
This is your commentator, Richard Asher, welcoming you to an international women's cricket match, the first of 3 this weekend, or T20, between the hosts Austria and Belgium. Sorry that we just missed the beginning of this game. We are sorting out a few technical glitches, and I do hope that you are hearing me loud and clear. Sounds good in the headphones. Let me fill you in on what's been going on across the first 3 overs of the game. As you may be able to see from the score, it's been a fairly solid start from the Austrians, who've already flayed a few boundaries, punishing the weak balls, led, of course, by their top batter, Andrea Cepeda, one of their most experienced players. Who is now back on strike. Andrea May, the former captain of the team, but regular opener now. Nice extension of the arms through the ball there, which has been a feature of the innings already so far. She grabs another single and brings her opening colleague Bushra Utsa onto strike. With ball in hand at the moment is Anya, who's charging in really quickly. One of the quicker run-ups you'll see in women's cricket, that's for sure. And another single added to the score. There's only been one scare so far this morning when the ball's gone up in the air. That one didn't go to hand. And, of course, Belgium will want to focus on their fielding. A few did go down, it must be said, in the pre-match catching practice. So there's some quick improvements to be made there if any more go up in the air. The one that did go sky high earlier on while we were off air was not in fact dropped. It sort of landed in no man's land. But we will see how the fielding goes as we proceed. One important thing to mention in this game is that it is actually Belgium's very first international women's cricket game. So not for the first time here at Seebahn on the outskirts of Vienna. Well, actually quite far outside Vienna, let's be honest. We are seeing a bit of international cricket history being made, as there's another wide from the check end by Shweta Sinha, the vice-captain for Belgium. She has sent down a few this morning, keeping the scorers busy. And the score ticking along nicely for Austria. There's a third successive one. And we, of course, hope for her sake this doesn't turn into the over that never ends. I'm sure she'll get it right in a minute. Bowling with the hat on. Unfortunately, the umpire's arms are once again outstretched. And it's going to be a long one. Pretty easy for Bushra Utsa to keep the score ticking at her end at the moment with the bat. Just stand and watch it go by. Although that one was a bit of a play and miss, as far as we could see from the boundary here. Just to let you know that we're not actually seeing the pictures that are on your screen. So if it does look like I've missed something that you can see, that'll probably be the reason why we're commentating on the ropes currently at mid-off. We were, just to fill you in on that history I was talking about, so if we go back a year, when Austria played Germany right here at Seebahn in a 5-match international women's series, it was in fact the first international women's cricket anywhere in the world after the COVID break. So that was a match, or a series of quite some significance last year, a bit of history there. And then, as I mentioned today, the first game for Belgium in international women's cricket. More and more countries joining the fray now. Austria, fairly young in international women's cricket terms themselves, but they do have an ICC ranking at 47. Belgium looking to register their first results, as this one gets a thorough thrashing. And for the second time today, we see a ball disappear down to the straight boundary for 4. I must say that when they've been hit today, they have stayed hit. The Austrian batters have not taken any great risks, keeping it mostly on the ground, which is as it should be. If you don't hit it up in the air, you can't get caught. Safest way to not get out. It's my approach to batting anyway. Oh, that's another boundary for Andrea Metzepeda. He's looking very comfortable out there. Cue the play and miss, but it was a wide one. There's no slip in place. If she'd got anything on that, well, probably would have fallen safe. Another one going straight. It does not get past the Belgian skipper, Nicola Thrappe mid-off, but they do sneak a single. And the score skips merrily along to 46 without loss, with 1 over of the power play still to go. Austria couldn't really have hoped for a brighter start. Bushra Utsa playing the supporting role here, but on to 13 already, and she'll be happy with that. Due a score, we might say, after the tour to Italy, which was a little bit earlier this summer. So that's where Austria, playing away, registered a 3-2 series win. Lost one, won 3, and then lost the final one down in Italy. So they are, of course, a little bit more match fit than the Belgians, who, as I said, are playing their very first international T20 game. There are numerous cricket grounds in Belgium, I'm told, the main one being at Waterloo, which is a slightly better known name than Seabarn, where we're playing today. Don't think ABBA sang any songs about Seabarn. But they are fooling around in studios again these days, so don't rule it out completely. We have a bowling change now. Is that Nicola bowling? I believe it is. So as I mentioned, this is the Belgian skipper, and of course one of their most experienced players as well. It's a good length delivery to start. Just pushed. Nicely pushed along this good Seabarn turf, which is a little bit damp. This is an outfield in good condition by Seabarn standards at the moment, and as I mentioned, just a little bit damp because we are quite late into the autumn now. They think about a run but decide against it. They've already got plenty. No need to take a risk now. And I should mention that although it is a little damp out there, hence, because of the season, it is the perfect autumn day. It is an absolute screamer. We're expecting around 25 degrees. There is not a cloud in the sky. That one goes quite a long way down leg. Does it not? The umpire's just having a little look, calling no ball, and I wonder if that is to do with number of players inside or outside the circle. As I mentioned, this is the last over of the power play. So umpire on the ball, if not the Belgian fielders, but it is all a learning experience in this inaugural ODI for them. Sorry, not ODI, T20 International. That was a free hit, but it'll go down as a dot ball, as Bushra Utsa cannot quite get anything substantial on that one, and it passes by harmlessly. So it is an absolutely perfect day, as I mentioned. It can get roaringly hot here in summer, unpleasantly hot. This is what you want for an international cricket game. 25 degrees, clear blue skies. That one's turned around the corner. There should be a straightforward single. There is. The Belgians won the toss and sent Austria into bat, possibly mindful that the outfield will quicken up later, or perhaps there was some other rationale. I wouldn't say it's a wet enough outfield for the ball to really get wet in any meaningful sense, but possibly just to slow down the odd shot on its way to the boundary. But as we've seen, and as we see right there, is a good example of it. When it's come out the middle, well, there could be a lot more water on that outfield and it would still be going. 4 more runs to Andrea made it better, and Austria into the 50s now. She's on to 26. Already has a 43 to her name this international summer. That was the top score from any of the Austrians in the series down in Italy. As we have another bowling change here at the Czech end. We're so called at Seban because the Czech Republic is in that direction behind the bowler's arm in this over. Not too far away, just an hour or so up the road, unless, of course, there's a terrible accident and lots of traffic. So we have number 9 bowling, who is not on the team sheet. We'll sort out a player name for you in due course, I'm sure. We are, as I mentioned, seeing these Belgian players for the very first time, and managed to commit a few names and faces to memory this morning. Current bowler is not among them, not on the official team sheet, with at least with that shirt number. These things are sent to try us. Not that delivery so much, which is a rank full toss. There's also a misfield. It'll be a fairly straightforward 2 to Bushra. Now Austria already well on course. Perhaps it's a little bit too early to say in the early stages, but I'll continue that thought just after this ball. Which yields another single. The rang between the wickets has been a feature this morning. Really, really good from Austria. No mix-ups, no drama. But could Austria be on their way already to their best score in a women's international at Seban? I know it's early days, but it's already worth a mention because another solid hit down to long off, and the captain. It is early days, but that series against Germany last year was not a great one for Austria. The first time they'd hosted at Seban, and they were playing against a team with a substantially better ICC ranking. Lost the series 5-0. That's just over a year ago we're talking. Germany compiled some big scores just to give you an idea of what is possible on this ground. Germany actually put on 190 plus in a couple of those games. And Austria, whether chasing or batting first, didn't get into 3 figures. In fact, in the first 3 games, didn't manage to bat out their 20 overs. This, I remind you, is last summer we're talking about against Germany. Very nicely paddled around the corner there by Bushra. keeping the strike nicely rotating today. So last summer, Austria's best score on this ground was 83 all out in response to 165. That was in the very first game, in fact, against the Germans, who were wearing very similar colours to what the Belgians have brought today. Nice bright outfits, red and black. That one's dropped short. This time Cepeda picks out the fielder, which gives the bowling side a bit of a lift, and that's the end of the over. So to end off that thought, when they get past 83 today, Austria will have their best score at Seebahn so far. So Nicola's back for another over. Keeping Bushra guessing there. Playing it nice and late under the eyes. Not bothering with the helmet today. It's just a beautiful morning here. I can't tell you. If you're not here, you're missing out. I'm glad you're with us on the live stream. But if you're anywhere in Central Europe, there is another game at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and the weather forecast is marvelous. And then a further game at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So if you want to come and have the unusual experience of international cricket on the European mainland, get to Seebahn. Now that's gone straight to the fielder, but they find time for a run on the misfield. Admission to the ground is, of course, free. It is mostly just players and match officials here at the moment, which is a shame. If you're wondering where exactly we are, we're in Seebahn, which I believe is officially in the Weinviertel, just north of Vienna. So you would go up the Danube a little bit in the direction of Krems and Germany, and then hang a right from the right bank and go inland just a couple of kilometers, and you land up in the little village of Seebahn in Lower Austria. Now, luckily, shortish cover got a wrist on that because it was hit quite hard by Cepeda. In the end, that keeps it down to a single. The Belgians have been doing well to get something behind it, mostly today. No embarrassing misfields. Not too many yet. Slightly quicker delivery there. Coming in from Nicola Thrupp. One of two South Africans that I am aware of in this Belgian team. From Johannesburg originally. Again, some nice decisive running. Has just been a feature of the Belgian fielding that although they are stopping the ball, it's not sticking cleanly in hand, and that of course just gives you those extra couple of ticks to complete a single, and well, it makes you a little bit more likely to shout yes and start running, doesn't it? So far, that's been working very, very well for the Austrians. That over's just pulled things back a little bit as far as the score. Austria batter, who's also probably due some runs after Italy, and Malika probably coming in at 4 or 5. A very impressive all-rounder who joined the team for the Italian tour, the successful jaunt to Italy just a couple of weeks ago, and also well capable with the bat. So there is still a bit to come, and you can, I suppose, expect a little bit more risk to be taken with every over, particularly from the set batter who is now on strike, Andrea Mezzepeda.
So we have the skipper currently setting the field and captaining from the boundary, especially from well, she's currently at long off, and there is some personal experience and personal connotations here to just say that captaining or setting your field from the deep is just damn hard. As a captain, ideally, you would want to be in the circle at least, so that you can have a look basically where your field is from within, where the batters see the field. And as we speak, there is another wide. Captain has the right idea though, so she's putting her best fielders on the outside, because I would say she is expecting the acceleration. She's expecting aerial shots now. She's expecting those shots to the boundary. So all the better fielders are pushed outside. And there is one of these shots already, and it's gone for a 3-bounce 4. Gandali, the skipper, does her job. And Austria indeed already with the foot slightly on the gas pedal.
Yeah, that was as if someone hit the go button there, because that's the first time we've seen someone deliberately go aerial today, and very well executed it was. That was a classic cow corner shot. Perfect for this time in the innings. But this one treated with respect, as Schwerte, of course, is back into the attack, who opened the bowling at this end. Had her difficulties, especially in the opening over, sending down quite a few wides, bowling with the hat on. Still with the hat on. Unfortunately, still sending down the odd wide.
Almost disappointed there wasn't a big appeal for LBW, for caught behind, because that's one of those wides that where you think, oh, was there a glove on it? And Gandali with another shot, and very hesitant on that run. An easy single, not taken.
Yeah, they haven't left too many out there today, but there probably have been 3 or 4 singles, even in the opening partnership as well, that were left. There hasn't been much evidence that this is the sharpest fielding team, and if there's a 50-50 call, you might want to risk it. Having said that, there has been a run out, but that was a mix-up when one of the batters was stuck halfway down the pitch.
That felt more like a stutter while you have bad internet connection and want to watch a live feed or something, and where it with better connection, that would have been an easy single. But however, I think this is something where we've talked before. The batting partnerships, or the batting pairs rather, they need just that time in the middle, and the more time they have together in the middle, the better they will be with communication, and the easier those yes, no, waiting calls will feel, and the more natural they will come. So just a matter of time and more game time for that pair.
Yeah, it is a horrible old cricket cliche, but it is a cliche for a reason. There's no better practice than time in the middle. And you can see from these two experienced cricketers that they've had a lot of it, and the calm almost radiates out here to where we're standing on the boundary. As they get set to try and bring this chase to a successful conclusion. I don't know why I said chase there, because of course it's the first innings, but 139 for 1 with 5 overs still left to bat. Well, I think 150 would be a massive disappointment from here. What about the 198 that Germany managed to register a year and a couple of months ago at this ground. Could that be on the radar?
Well, of course, it can always be on the radar. You would just need another Andrea Meisepera in the middle for that. And I reckon for the 198 or any 200s to fall, I think this is the perfect setting for that. We have fantastic weather today. We have a good ground. We have quick outfield. We would just need another quick hitter of the ball in the middle for that to happen. So another one with a potential of half century in, let's say, with a strike rate of 125, 140, and we will reach the 200 mark.
Certainly possible. My money personally will be on somewhere between 150 and 198 as the innings score here, but let Austria prove me wrong here.
Well, Richard, you're not much of a gambler in that case, because that will probably yield you the same interest rate as any savings account nowadays. And I would say that this is a very 165-ish score today that we're looking forward to. That was a good single. Ball just guided over the top, and the bowler is having issues with her elbow. Apparently, she has been trying to put some strength back into the underarm.
Yeah, very interested to see what's going to happen with the action on this delivery. Well, that looked like a nice straight arm from here, and they'll just settle for the one wide, the one extra on top of the wide, which has now been called. Just thinking back to that 198 from Germany, I don't know if you were watching last year, of course you should have been, but Christina Goff and Janet Reynolds, I believe it was, for Germany. It was 198 without loss in the fourth of the T20 internationals last year. What an amazing day that was, and pretty dispiriting for Austria. Much better times happening here today.
They're not the best opening pair north of the Danube and south of the Elbe for nothing.
Remind me exactly where the Elbe flows. You geography geek, you.
Flows from Dresden through Hamburg. So basically saying that the best opening pair between Vienna and Hamburg.
Yeah, I definitely go along with that based on what I've seen of Teutonic women's cricket so far. Anyways, again, we see the suspect elbow. The arm goes out from the umpire. Impossible to say from here if that's because... Did the ball miss the pitch there? Sorry if it sounds like we don't know what we're talking about, but we can't actually see the pictures you're seeing.
So what happened here was that the ball went past the batter above waist height. It was hit slightly with the bat and a run taken from there. So a no ball based on height, I would assume, unless the umpire is giving it a no ball on action. That would be a new one for these circuits.
Well, the bowler's clearly aware of it. She's doing all sorts of rehearsals with straight arms and bent arms. This is the straight arm variant. That's definitely a no ball on height. And another single to the total. Turning into quite the fascinating over, this one.
I think this is where you have to take the bowler off the action, and this is indeed the case. I would suggest, because it does seem that she is hurt in some way, in some manner, and is coming off the attack. Yes, we have a new bowler coming to finish the over. Also something that you don't get to see in your regular cricket matches, and not meaning regular as in your everyday cricket matches, but just this is a rare occurrence in cricket generally, that a bowler cannot finish the over because of either, be it injuries, be it action, be it no ball heights, etc., etc. So we have Zara coming in to finish this over with a free hit, and she has to deliver to Andrea Meisepera, who is, of course, keen to see that free hit.
And that free hit is going to have to be bowled again. As the umpire confirms for us there. Well, as a South African cricket fan who watched Dale Steyn breakdown regularly, I've probably seen other people completing overs for fast bowlers more often than most. But you're right, it is in general a fairly rare occurrence in international or any form of cricket, really. And it's a good thing because we don't want people getting injured all the time.
It is about as rare as back in the 90s. We had runners coming onto the ground for injured batters and just basically run for these guys. And I mean, we did have some Ranatungas, we did have some Tendulkars. And while we philosophy about past times, there is another boundary hit from Andrea Mesepeda on the free hit and a misfield as well. This has to hurt morale in the Belgium camp as well. They were doing rather good in the last 1 or 2 overs. They had it slightly fought back. The run rate was coming down again. And then this over is when you give it all away and misfield as well. Yeah, you have to feel for that.
Yeah, misfields, no balls, wides. That's you're not going to build pressure like that, even if the batters aren't scoring off the bat, which they are. And it all adds up to a score in excess of 150 with quite some time in the innings still to go. And I tell you what, Andrea Mesepeda knocking on the door of 80. Not going to say any more at this stage, except that there are 4 and a bit overs left.
Yeah, so 157 after 15.4 overs. So 2 deliveries still to go from this over. And this has turned into a very lengthy over. About the length of 2 overs that this over has already taken. And that was rather close. Almost played on. So we have a dot ball in this over. I think this is the first dot ball that we faced here. And last ball of the over coming up. Gandali, the captain, on strike. Will she? Oh, another dot ball. Misses what she thinks was a freebie. Is annoyed with herself. But that's a good end to otherwise rather terrible over. And we have now 16 overs down, 4 overs to come, 157 for 1.
As the war cry goes out from the Austrian bench, which is the more buoyant of the two at the moment. No surprises there. 9 wickets in hand. A fielding team that you'd think might be a bit demoralized at the moment, although the energy is up there, running around like gazelles, at least 4 of them, scooting into position. So a lot of teams could learn from that. And once again, the skipper is, as you mentioned, Suraj down at long off, having, although I have no reason to suspect that she isn't one of the better fielders in the team, she has had a couple of incidents today, letting 4s go through that shouldn't have gone through. So some sins to make up for there in the outfield. This ball couldn't be further away from her. As another 4 to Andrea Mesepeda, and we're going to have to start keeping a closer eye on her batting total as this innings progresses.
And Ananya Singh comes into the attack. So this IPL tune that we keep hearing from the speakers, that has also spread rather like COVID, hasn't it? It's going T20 league to league, and it's being played like it has no copyright issues, which is probably true.
I always think of that as having been invented in Mexico, but I'm not sure the exact roots of that little jingle. Oh, that's well hit. And when you hit it hard enough, there's a chance you can just go through a fielder, which is what happened there. And they're back for another couple. Speaking of music, it was just before we went on air this morning, But we actually had national anthems here at Seabarn. So kicking up a gear, we didn't have that for the Germans for the Germans last summer. But we had the Austrian and Belgian national anthems before play. Very nice it was too.
That is because the Germans basically stole our anthem. So we don't want to have it played twice. And another good shot from Andrea Mesepeda. A double surely on the offer here. Yes, it is indeed. So just some tidbits. Yesterday, RCB against Chennai, they were going rather nicely as well. 110, no wickets. And so Austria and RCB going for first wicket down at 1-1-1. Of course, RCB then totally lost the plot. Austria showing them how it's done and are rather calm and collected. And they just try to keep the wickets in hand and go for the runs. And then 165 for 1 already. And we have 3.5 overs still ahead of us. So my 165-ish bet is down. Richard, 10 and over, and we are in the 190s.
We wait and watch. Oh, first the batter pulls out. Now the bowler pulls out, not for the first time. We'll get this ball bowled eventually. I predicted somewhere between 150 and 198, which is not a very bold prediction. It's taking a massive window for myself, but I'm still staying with that. But as you say, 190s are looking realistic. Just the single there. This bowler is full of energy, actually. You have to give her credit for that. And then you're saying, always running back to her mark, Makaya Rintini style.
Yeah, this is more of a Ananya Scheibachter thing for me. A long run up, comes past the 30-yard circle, and fires down her wide. I must say, the energy aspect of her, I'm really liking this. I'm enjoying her. I'm enjoying watching her run in. And just bowl it with full energy. And this is her third over already. And it is not a cool day. It is rather hot for this morning already. So the players are under some heat. And match heat, of course, already. As they are 166. I'm being corrected. Sorry, it's a fourth over for her. So even more impressive that she's still running in with full blast and just trying to make it pay. And this is a no ball as the ball is bouncing not on the pitch.
Turning into another longer over here. We will need to just keep an eye on the score for Andrea Mezepeda. There's a possible mismatch of information going on, so as she does get closer to any magic numbers, we'll have to double check with our scorers what's going on.
Yeah, basically we'll keep an eye on the scores. We will keep an ear on the Austrian camp and the other ear at the scorers. So we're all eyes and ears in Andrea Mesepeda's inning. And this is a good dot ball, slightly over the stumps. As I said, the natural length maybe for this pitch, not as good as it could have been, because there is some bounce on the pitch, and had there been about 5 centimeters of less bounce, we would have been seeing middle stump, at least not being cutting, but it was being hit. Belgians are still full of energy, the women in the Belgian camp. And this is the more impressive the longer you watch. It is not an easy task on the ground of cricket after 17 overs to still have your heads up, to still be full of energy when your team is 167, 168 in the bank with just only one wicket to show. So it is impressive. It has to be. It has to be applauded as well. And there was a drop on mid-wicket. Another misfield and a drop. But Gandali Bapata takes a 2 here and keeps rotating the strike handsomely as well. And this 2 was certainly helping her calm her nerves as well. And it was good running between the wickets this time.
Oh, this looks like it's going to be another 4. Yeah, well, the footwork rarely works in that situation, and this was no exception. So, again, as has been a feature today, hit it hard enough, and there's a good chance you can get it through and past the fielders, even if it's not bang in the middle of the gap. And that's been working since the first over this morning. As you say, that was good awareness when the ball went up in the air. It's easy to freeze sometimes and think, what have I done? But you've got to expect them to drop it as a batter. You've got to hope they're going to drop it and keep running.
Yeah, so my philosophy generally in that case is if it's high in the air, I've got time to run. And if I can run, then at least there is some pressure on the fielder to maybe even think that they have to throw it back to the keeper, onto the bowler. So another slightly half a chance goes over the cover fielder, and Gandali Bapat coming really into her inning now.
Yeah, fantastic situation to come into. She had a chance to have a look with Cepeda very well set at the other end, and now just accelerating into things. And this is going to be another 4 runs on that outfield that was quick to start with today. And I say quick not in comparison with Lords or a test venue, but certainly for a European cricket field, pretty quick. We've seen Seabarn much slower than this at times in history, and that outfield is in good state. Very lucky in Austria that we have a dedicated cricket ground. We see European cricket teams playing on all sorts of makeshift venues that are shared with other sports. So although it's a little bit of a journey outside of Vienna, we're blessed to have this venue, and it is in fine condition today.
Her eyes lit up when she saw that one, but only managed to get the backside of the bat to it and is annoyed with herself. But she has to be.
Well, a scare for all concerned there. But managed to get back in time from that ball that seemed to hang in the air for all eternity. 2 overs to go. And so it's to complete her spell, but this from the other end now. Anya Bairstow, as we're going to call her. We will see if she can bat. Can tell you she's not the keeper, obviously. Whether there's a Yorkshire connection, we don't know.
Again, good run-up. Long run-up. But it somehow falls flat somewhere between the last 4 or 5 steps until the stumps are in sight. So let's have a look at this one again. And nicely guided. I would again claim that this is a single not taken rather than just a well-fielded ball. Definitely a single on the menu here. Anya, however, does good. Come back from the wide and bowls it nice and full so that Gandali cannot go for the big hits here.
Well, the Belgian fielders like that, but it's not an appeal or an edge as such, but they enjoy the bat being beaten. As you say, there's a bit of a loss of rhythm in the run-up. That is, of course, common at lower levels of cricket, let's say. And as we mentioned, Belgium playing their very first T20 international, so they will qualify as a team that is learning. And this over has, well, that's 2 and 2 dot balls in a row. We haven't seen a lot of that today. And it could be a masterpiece of captaincy, the change of ends here. So far, Anya seems to be thriving, but the over has yet to play out completely.
Yeah, you could certainly claim that this is a good death over bowling and also, of course, good captaincy, as you mentioned, Richard. And she is not too fussed about trying to go for something special and just bowling her natural length and line. And her natural length and line is definitely good enough so that the Austrian batters are not able to hit her for the runs they would like to, certainly, as we are at 182 for 1 after 18.3 overs, so 1.5 overs to go. 200, of course, always on the menu. You never know what can happen. Another 3 boundaries, and we are in reach of 198.
Andrea May on strike on roughly 90, we think. She'll get another crack at that. So 9 balls left in the innings, if there's no wides or no balls. The score that you see on your screen may not be completely correct down to the last run for Andrea May. So we'll be watching, as you say, the Austrian bench checking in with the scorer. I think it's safe to say that if she would smash 2 sixes now, that would take her over the line. We haven't seen a 6 yet today, so it's a big ask. And again, Bairstow putting it in the right place.
She puts the ball and her body on the line. Already seen her field lovely two shots. Once straight to the bowler and one was at bat pad, where she just kept running in and fielded it very nicely and handsomely. So she's certainly still full of energy, and you would assume if that goes on for longer, what can she do for the second game? And as the fielder says, she can't see a thing. There is another single from Andrea May Cepeda taken, and that puts Austria to 184. And with that, it is over. And we are about to enter the last over of this inning.
Well, if Cepeda wants 100, she's done the right thing by getting the strike at the beginning of the last over sorted out there. And from both her point of view and the team point of view, she should have a go for it now, shouldn't she?
Everything puts it to the assumption that Andrea is now on 94, not out. So last over, 94, 6 balls to go, 6 runs to come. And we are hearing the coach already shout all the way through. So if that is the case and Andrea makes it all the way through, there is not a lot of runs to go for a Big Daddy 100.
Oh, bother. Well, hey, if it's 94, whatever exactly it is, that was a fantastic knock. She's going to be feeling disappointment right now. There's no doubt about it. But what a brilliant innings it's been. Almost chanceless until the very end. And she has held this together. And as we've said before, when Andrea May bats well, Austria make runs. And it has again been the case today. She's just about doubled her top score of the season as both benches sportingly erupt to salute her off the field. She raises the bat. What a shame she couldn't register the 3 figures, but will still go down as one of the finer knocks we've seen in Seabarn's young history as a women's international venue.
Certainly the best Austrian women's knock for a long time, and maybe for still a long time to come. Andrea Meisapella can certainly be proud of this achievement. 94 and almost batted 20 overs. And now we have number 27, Mamika Mahadeva, coming into the strike. So off this last over, get bat on ball and run. That would be my plan now.
What could possibly go wrong? Malika knows what to do with the bat. Had a good, successful time in Italy. That's bat on ball, that's running, and it should be two. There's no reason not to at this stage in the game. And I think, all being well, they should make it into the 190s. That's just 4 runs away now. The 198 that the Germans got last year might be just out of reach with 3 balls left. That's asking a lot.
There's still 2 matches to come to make an effort for that. However, we have here some slight miscommunication. Again, the non-striker not backing up just enough. The single certainly, again, possible. 2 balls to come of this fantastic Austrian first inning. And we shall see what the context of this Austrian first inning will be once the Belgians are put into bed. 1 ball to come, as that was not called wide, probably just bouncing over the leg stump. Final delivery of the match. And there is a single. And with that, the Austrian inning comes to an end. Austria can certainly be proud of that achievement of 187 for 2 that they've put on for the 20 overs. Now it is up to the Red Devils to show what they are able to do in their chase.
Yeah, the Rode Duiveltjes or something like that, they would say in Belgian Dutch. I'm sure I haven't got that entirely right, but I had to have a go. And 188 will be the target in just a few minutes when they come back from the innings break. And you wouldn't put your money on it being chased down. If it is, we're in for a ripper of an afternoon. The very, very first little cloud has come into the sky, but it's a tiny one, and I don't think it's going to make any difference for the rest of this day. It's continuing to be a stunner, and don't go too far away because we've got a chase on in the second innings. 188 the target for Belgium to chase down. So the big news during the break is 10 penalty runs added to the target. So it's now 198. 198 required from Belgium, and that was for a slow over rate in the fielding session.
And some further news for you is that Andrea Meza-Peter had made 100 indeed. That was 101. And so that was the first women's in Austrian international cricket. And Valentina Advilai coming into the attack as opening bowler and already starting off rather handsomely with a dot ball. And what else can we tell you? So 10 penalty runs. Nicola Thrupp is on strike. She's opening the batting. And we have and Sarah Amanda is on the non-strikers end. So the opening pair of Nicola Thrupp and Sarah Amanda.
Solid start from Valentina so far, and we've come to expect that. Usually the most economical bowler on the recent tour of Italy from the Austrian side, and quite accustomed now to taking the new ball. Here she comes again. Oh. As always happens when you big them up. Misses the pitch, and this is going to be a free hit.
Call it commentator's curse, call it what you will. It is what it is. We have a no ball, so free hit is on the menu for now. And Nicola Thrupp takes a full free hit, and this might as well roll all the way to the boundary. No, it doesn't. Just stopped shy of the boundary at fine leg. And Belgium off the mark with the first 2-run from Nicola Thrupp. 3 for none after the first 3 deliveries.
Umpires looking at each other regarding the height there, but there's no reaction from square leg. Did have a chat to the umpires during the break, and actually the interesting over that we witnessed where there was a bit of a bent arm going on and there was the pitch being missed and the over that wasn't completed in the end, or somebody else completed. The bowler was actually taken out of the attack on the account of the 2 waist-high no balls that were bowled by the umpire. So in the end, any arm issues were irrelevant, but that was the reason that somebody else completed that over earlier on for Belgium. So a tidy enough start from Valentina, apart from just the 1 or 2 wild ones there, but the rest of them were on the mark, and Belgium obviously going to have to try and get off to much more of a flyer if they're going to chase down 198 after those extra 10 penalty runs were added. And it looks like they glow. It almost looks like they're glowing orange in this light. At the start of the day, the Austrian red and the Belgian red look quite similar, but now the sun's beating down. Looks like Belgium have got more like a orange tint on their shirts as Vera takes strike at the check end.
Yeah, probably that's the yellow and the red combination that just melts into a orange goo, and with the Austrian red and white with the dark trousers just appears to be much darker. It's almost like the Latvian and the Austrian flags just worn by some other nations in this case. And off the mark is Zara Amanda. So the first over went for 3 runs. We've started the second over with a rather handsome delivery. Just Zara getting some bat on it, and the ball flies to gully-ish, and a single, of course, on the offer here. So I'm really keen to see a wide called. This is going to be the real key for Austria today. We have seen against Italy about 25 to 35 extras per match. So the goal today, of course, for the bowlers generally is to limit those extras and to limit those wides, especially because you're giving a run away basically for free and another one given, and you are basically making sure that the opposition chases instead of 198, maybe 160 or 155 if the extras keep creeping up. And of course, the more extras you bowl, the slower your over rate is going to be, so that factor comes as well into the game, that extra penalty runs might be given because of slow over rates as wides are being bowled as well.
Yeah. We've already seen a couple of twists so far with regard to penalty runs and unexpected things, and people being having centuries confirmed during the innings break. There's a little appeal there, but not too convincing. Umpire not interested. But main thing is it's a dot ball, as far as Austria are concerned. Malika operating from the count end, which we so call because that's where the count to whom this field belongs resides. Nikki will be a bit disappointed to miss out on the full toss there. That's early days in the innings, but every chance is going to have to be taken. Although, as you say, if the wides and no balls keep coming, that keeps a chasing side interested, and anything can be possible. That's 3 dots we've had now.
That's throwdowns practice right now. So good balls, but not being put away is going to hurt in this stage as well, because power play is when you can take more risks and just thwart the ball outside of the 30-yard circle without risking a catch being taken. And here we see that those are rather drives or just blocks back to the bowler. And I think this is where Austria is able to pull the match back in. Well, it's not gone anywhere yet, so not pulling back anything yet, but just put their foot down and just limit Belgium to these singles and twos if they come around. And now we are at 6 after 2 overs, so with a run rate of 3 per over going the first 2 overs, Valentina Avilay coming back to strike. Back on the attack. And we have Zara on strike and Nikki on the non-strike ascent. So no wickets down yet.
Yeah, and the Austrian fielders respond warmly to that delivery that dips on the batter and ultimately has to be dug out. And already that kind of ball, you're going to have to start perhaps thinking about just getting that little bit further out and trying to get some juice on it with a drive if you're chasing as many as Belgium are. There's a attempt at giving it a good smack, but the bowler wins that battle. And Valentina Avdalai, who's currently bowling, as we mentioned, arguably the leader of the attack these days, had the best economy rate of the Austrian bowlers on that 5-match tour to Italy earlier in this summer. That one's full toss, but the batters are not trusting themselves to take it on just yet. In fact, having a good stare at the umpire is Zara there saying, what about the waist-high full toss? It's fair to say they've been a little bit generous on that today, but we have had a bowler taken out of the attack already for those, and if you were too strict on them, we might not have any bowlers left.
I feel like these full tosses were not waist-high or anything like that. Very fair deliveries, dipping down on the batter, so going way below waist-high, I feel, at least from Valentina. Although she does need to put a bounce into the ball here and there, because that deviation of a natural swing will yield her in some wickets once the ball is on a good length or on a slightly fuller length. This is where Valentina can strike the best. This is where she will strike if she makes it bounce nicely in front of the batter and the ball takes a slight swing before that. this is where she's really good at. The pace that she has does go for exactly these kind of swing options.
Indeed, a little bit of an edgy one there, and that one went out to point, but we do have a slip in waiting as well for when Valentina's bowling. Actually, when both bowlers are bowling, we have Malika now set to continue at the count end, the one with all the trees. And she was third most economical bowler in the recent trip to Italy, going for 4.73 and over. So three bowlers that are under 5 and over economy rate on that tour, Valentina and Malika, who are bowling now. And then, of course, that name we've mentioned so much already today, Andrea Cepeda. And what great news it was to hear that she did, in fact, get a century. She must be delighted.
Not only her, I'm pretty sure all of her team, and of course Austrian cricket is more than delighted that she is the first centurion of Austrian women's cricket, and this century of course comes in a T20I. That means also that this is a ICC T20 century, and well done on her for that. And as we speak, another wide thrown down from Malika. This is something really that has hurt Austria in the past. We remember the 5th T20 against Italy, where Austria lost by 1 run. And just to think that 1 wide here and there, less bowled, that would have been a match win. And a double not taken this time. I think either the captain, so Nikki not trusting her running abilities, or Zara not... Well, she was down the wicket already. She was at least 5 or 6 yards down or ahead. She would have made it. The throws are not that stingy as they can be usually, so the throws are coming in with manageable pace on them. So Malika runs in again, and this time a good dot ball. I think the 2 would have helped if that would have been taken, as Nikki might have been able to put these kind of balls away.
Yeah, they definitely left one up there, and they're going to have to work on the running. As we remember, that big opening partnership from Austria, the running between the wickets, was quite a feature. Led, of course, by Andrea May on her way to that century, and then very well supported by Bushra in her best innings for some time. Certainly her best international innings of the year by some margin. The running was pretty solid until, of course, the run out. But they had plenty on the board by the time that happened, 111 as it was. And they are, in general, keeping the Belgian openers well pinned down in this opening stint, which is exactly what they want. One of the features of that Andrea Cepeda innings for me was just how hard she hit the ball right from ball 1, and also how few risks she took. You know, just kept it on the ground and hit it hard. Simple but very, very effective. It's the kind of innings you can sleep soundly on, thinking, you know, I couldn't have done much better than that. I didn't rely on any luck. I reduced my risks while still scoring runs, which is ultimately what you want to do as a batter. There are good centuries and there are slightly iffy ones sometimes. That was not an iffy one. So congratulations again to Andrea Cepeda for having her century confirmed during the innings break, as Malika's over there comes to an end, and the 2 Belgian batters come together for a chat at the end of 4 with just 9 on the board, and well, there's only really one chat you can have at the moment. Well, I don't know about the proverbial gloves coming off, but it looks like the thigh guard is coming off Zara's hip. I was going to remark on her wearing it outside the black pants.
And as you do, we have a comment on YouTube live stream. Thank you very much for that, Alex. Of course, the name is Zara Sanz and not Zara Amanda. Thank you for that correction. We're terribly sorry for that. And of course, the skipper's name, Nicola Trupp. Thanks for that correction again. Much appreciated. would like to be corrected when we're wrong. And amazing delivery from Valentina. And this is a unnecessary throw. And Zara Sanz is hit on the helmet. I hope it's just the helmet. The throw didn't look too bad, but even that can hurt from that distance. Thankfully, she was wearing a helmet. It might have been just an unnecessary throw from the keeper over the stumps instead of to the stumps, and hits the batter, sadly, with that. Medical staff running onto the field. Zara looking all right. Will continue.
Yeah, the the Austrian keeper Gandali Bapat, who we saw batting towards the closing stages of that innings earlier and batting pretty well, having a unnecessary go there. It is tricky to throw underarm with the gloves, but we can't say for sure whether the batter was out of her ground or not. But it was wildly off target at any rate. But Zara Sanz does seem to be up and fighting fit again. Umpires are just in for a chat, presumably on the lines of, are you okay to continue? Will this be a turning point? Will this have angered her to the point where she's going to start hitting out? Valentina Avdolai is the bowler who's about to find out.
Yeah, so Zara Sanz maybe thinking already about either be hit or hit. And Valentina Avila will certainly see that aspect come into the game. Well, in that case, nicely bowled and a good dot ball. Goes over the stumps as well. A lot of these good length balls just missing the stumps. We will see if they change the length a little bit on that. And Zara has a hit. Safely fielded at mid-wicket.
Well, there's the full toss again from Valentina, and it can prove quite an effective delivery, and it comes in slow like that, and you can't sort of help it away for a six like you can in men's cricket all the time. And I wouldn't suggest it's deliberate, but it is certainly not waist high and often results in a dot ball. But now Zara Sanz taking on that full toss delivery, straight though it may be, with a slog, which is ultimately what she's got to do at this stage. And it only goes for the one, but it's a sign of aggression, finally. I think there is only one tack that Belgium can adopt here. We're not entirely sure how much depth their batting have. I'm not sure that they have much of an idea. As we mentioned earlier, this is their first ever T20 international, so Seaborn witnessing Belgian cricket history here. Although it's a bit of a shame that you don't play your first ever international as a country at home, and I guess that game would take place in Waterloo, just south of Brussels, if it were to take place. There will be a return fixture if all goes to plan and there aren't any more pandemics or other nasty events in the Northern Hemisphere. Next summer, Austria are expected to return the favour and head over to Brussels to play at the aforementioned Waterloo ground, by which time Belgium might be a seasoned international T20 team. Change in bowling. It's the hero of the morning, I believe, Andrea May Zepeda, with ball in hand. Just trying to get a clear view on it. We are standing on the boundary at mid-off, or as actually fine leg as it currently is. And just to remind you, we can't see the pictures that are on your screen all the time. In fact, any of the time. So we are commentating live on what we can see out in the middle. So bear with us if you can see something that we don't. Big shout, big shout. Umpire's hand remains unmoved. And it's an exciting start for Andrea May. She'll have to try again. But today has been her day so far, so why not have a shout? It's nice the way the ball comes out when she bowls. It's missing the floatiness that we see from some of the other bowlers. Of course, she does have a fair bit of cricket experience compared to many of the players on her own team and probably Belgium's team as well. Running in with good rhythm, and that one simply too good for Zara Sands. Who is ready for the next ball, not really buying into the idea of taking a step away and going out of the bubble, switching off and coming back into it. She's been in the stance since long before May turned to the top of her run. That was a ball that needed some power put into it. In the end, it's just dibbed around the corner for none. And already you get the feeling that this chase, if we want to call it that, is dying a bit of a slow death. Umpire's calling that, unsurprisingly. That's the first loose delivery we've seen from Zepeda. Again, Zara Sands stands ready. That's another great length delivery. Just the line's a bit off. And another one to the Belgian total.
And another wide. Austria really need to clamp down on these wides. Really getting again into a bit of a habit of bowling these wides a bit too much. Of course, if you're in the middle and as a bowler, what are you going to do against these wides if they just come off as they do? But Andrea, at least some change in her run up now, has reduced her run up to a few steps, and now bowling pretty much the same pace as she did with the longer run up. Just no wides anymore. Oh, as I say that, another wide. The umpire does not agree with me. Andrea might want to look into changing her angle, maybe even. Another wide. Umpire getting a good workout for his arms too. So Andrea at least also thinking about some workouts for the umpires. Because standing around can be tiring. At least you get to lift your arms. And that is a good delivery.
Yeah, one of the notable things about the Austrian bowling, I'd say so far, actually, particularly with Valentina and Andrea May, is that although they have sent down more than their share of wides, like the Belgians did, their good balls have been better. We've probably already seen the bat beaten and balls just respected, and rightfully so, than more times than we saw in the entire Austrian innings. So you kind of think as long as they're sending down those good deliveries with relative regularity, then wickets will come and certainly pressure will stay on. And with the score at 15 after 6 overs, we can say the pressure is totally translating into scoreboard numbers at the moment. We have another change of bowler from the check end. It's Surya Reddy, the tall Surya Reddy. Also coming in off a longish run at the check end. As that one goes through slip, Bushra's in chase, and they must get two here. They do. Bowling with the 5 fielders on the offside. It's been a feature of the field setting here as Austria have defended this total, in contrast to the Belgian field setting, which was a strong leg side field throughout the game.
So, Richard, a personal question. What year was you born?
1980.
So, Zara Sands, 1975. And that is the first wicket. Bowler! So, Austria getting taste of blood. First wicket down. That is Nicola Trupp. Has to walk back to the pavilion. And now the new batsman. New batter coming onto the pitch is Shweta Sinha. He's the vice captain as well for the Belgian side. And it was a very, very good ball on a good length. Just not really able to see if it did anything in the air from here, but maybe Nicola Trupp just missed a good one.
Yeah, looking from the... And we're going to see more wickets from Reddy. I would say that's the pick of the overs so far from the Austrian bowlers, not just because it had a wicket in it, but we also saw an edge and saw the bat beaten.
And that's 17 for 1 for Belgium after 7 overs. So Belgium will need to put on some pressure on the Austrian bowlers if they want to be in some contention of making it a close content, of course. Belgium here, rather now under pressure, have to do something to get the scoreboard moving, to keep it clicking. Andrea May Zepeda coming back from the count end and bowling to Zara Sands. Gully being moved a bit deeper, a bit wider. Gully basically now a short third man. And a good length ball. Zara Sands looking to cut it rather into the backward square leg gully region. Doesn't really make an effort to connect that. Andrea Mezepera runs in again, and this time off the pitch to the keeper again.
Well, with 3 runs off 29 balls, according to the scores that I can see in front of me, make that 30. You'd have to say this is not what you want from your opener in the T20 format, especially when you're chasing a big target. And those on the bench in most forms of cricket, when someone's out there with 3 off 30, are going to be saying, have a go big or get out, because this is not going to get the target chased down. Unfortunately, she's had a lot of the strikes so far, and most of those are translating into dot balls.
But again, these are just some of these things that will happen in your first ever T20 international. Lack of experience, lack of awareness to some extent, and sometimes, sorry to say, but just lack of abilities too, because you're not always able to make runs out of good deliveries. You're not always able to connect with the bat onto the ball and push the ball basically where the fielders aren't. And in this case, the fielders are placed in good areas. The field is placed exactly where the ball is rather going towards. And Andrea Mezepeda now also off a maiden after her first over went for a few extras. She has pulled herself back and bowls a magnificent maiden here. And Belgium still 17 after 8 overs, 1 down. From now on, I think my thought process as a skipper or as a striker would be hit or be hit. Just try to go for it, because there's still 9 or 8 wickets in the hut. They will come and need the chance and need some experience. And if you still need 170 runs to win, and you have 3 or 4 out of 14, 15 deliveries, might as well start to smack it and thwack it all and see if the balls go over the fields, and just try to put the fielders under some sort of pressure. Currently, they are not feeling no pressure. The field is still very attacking. Power play is over, however, and we have only one fielder outside of the 30-yard. And now straight to Joanne Stieglitz, and she, collects it quickly back to the keeper. And still a good single, absolutely a good single, but risky single as well. And again, the fielders are putting pressure on the batters, and not the other way around.
Yeah, there'll need to be another 150 or so of those good singles if they're going to get anywhere near, as we see a rare loose delivery from Reddy here, who's been bowling really particularly well from the Czech Republic end. But some faint signs of intent with the running, and also in the previous over, the one that Zara Zan's tucked off the hip straight to the fielder was a good shot. It was straight out the middle, and unfortunately did pick out the fielder, but at least there was a bit of intent to it. Quite short, but goes for a dot ball. We haven't seen a lot of really short bowling. They have definitely tended to err on the full side or even the full toss side in the bowling today from both teams.
One bowler I would like to see bowl it short, though, is definitely the Austrian number 10, Reddy. She has the legs, and she certainly has the height for that. And just seeing an odd short delivery from her would be very interesting to say the least. And of course, throwing the batters completely off their plans too with bowling, just some short deliveries. Even shoulder height would do. Place a man at fine leg, bowl his shoulder height, and see what happens. And of course, Austrian outfield is now, the fielders are putting a lot of energy into the field. You can hear the former skipper Andrea Mezepeda shouting loud and clearly whenever a good fielding effort is being performed. And as we speak, a no ball has been called, waist height. So Reddy will have to pull her length a bit back and just throw it into the pitch.
Well, if there ever is a moment to press the go button, this has got to be it for Belgium. It's a free hit. And it's been picked up, has it? Well, the batter's not going anywhere, but is that just disbelief? Of course, no. Traditionalists like me still struggle to get the hang of this free hit thing. To be fair, I think some of the fielders were also celebrating.
Good fielding efforts have to be celebrated. Even if it's just a catch off a free hit. Happens. Who hasn't been on a field before where we have celebrated a free hit catch? And the strikers have taken a single meanwhile.
Yeah, although free hits have been around for quite a long time in cricket now, they are just so counterintuitive to everything you try to do as a bowler or fielder. It's just such a strange thing to take on board, even when you know it's a free hit. You've caught it. That's got to be a wicket. That's what you grow up with. That's what you spend your life trying to do.
Cricket and intuition. I feel those two words don't go together very well. But yes, of course, once you've caught the ball, the batter is, of course, out. How could it be any different? But the whole free hit concept, of course, brings a new dimension to this game, which, yeah, cricket loves new dimensions, doesn't it? And another good delivery from Andrea Mesepeda. I think she is just trying to bog down at the one end and hopes that Zara Sanz is facing her so that, yeah, of course, it's good for your economy as well if you just bog down on one end. But a wicket would be much appreciated, I guess, in the Austrian camp as well.
Yeah, one thing you have to say for Sanz is she does look solid in defence. If we were playing a different format, you'd probably be all for it. And that one was pretty high. Good throw come in there. Had a bit on it. But they managed to rotate the strike. One of the senior players on display in this match is Zara Sanz, as you mentioned, from the 70s, and not many players can say that in this particular matchup.
That's a good shot. Might go for two. Yes, they will try to run two. Bushra Ocha is collecting the ball and collects it back nicely. Still 2 runs. So finally something to relieve some sort of a stress for the Belgian batters. But yes, as you said, it's from the 70s, not many players around, but I would even suggest not even many umpires still around from the 70s right now on the field. Very, very seniorish players, and it's 10 overs down. Austria is definitely up on top here, and Belgium, I think that's 23-1. 24-1, am I being told by the scorers. Drinks break. Join us in 2 minutes for the second half of this Belgian inning.
So, we're back for round 2 of the second innings, by which I mean the second spell of 10 overs. And we have a slow bowler for the first time in the Austrian innings now. And also, a bit of left arm action. It is Sauj Chamundaya into the attack. Coming in front of the umpire and left arm around the wicket. And this time, Zara Sands decides to put a, well, I wouldn't call it exactly aggression, but has a hit. And does not bring a run. And there we finally see it. This not going to go. I don't think this is going to go, but they should easily have 2 here. And signs that she is ready to hit out and taken a liking to the slow bowling.
Chamundaya really bringing it in with the left arm, and who as a right-hand batter doesn't hate left-arm bowling? It's just counterintuitive from what you've been facing in probably all sorts of training situations, and then you see left armor coming around. But Zara Sands with a brilliant hit, to be honest, and Joanne Stiglitz with a similar brilliant fielding effort, and just doesn't let the ball run for 4 runs here. And Chamundaya coming in again, a bit shorter, and hits her on the pad. Tries to have a shout at LBW, but I think it was more optimistic than anything else. Still a good over, still going this. 2 runs yet, 4 balls already down, 2 balls to come, and with spin. You go through the overs, you just forget how many balls there have been because they're just so quick. Once again, Zara Sands has a hit, calls to a non-striker to wait, and she's left waiting. And that is over.
Waist high, no ball, as Nisha Nukala makes a less than optimal start to her spell. She comes into the attack from the count end. So this is a free hit, correct?
This is indeed a free hit, but I reckon she's just making the batter know that she can hit if she wants to. So she might come for her head if needed. And Nisha now with a no ball and a wide. The third delivery is still a free hit. We are still on a free hit. We haven't passed that barrier yet. No sound boom so far. And there it is. That's a free hit. And with that, we are 1 ball into the over. So Austrian fielding is still very much aggressive. We have still what seems to be just 2 fielders outside the 30-yard circle and everybody else in the 30-yard circle. And this is a catchable chance. Just falls short of the Austrian 25 at deep square leg. And that was still a chance. Just the fielder short by 2 or 3 yards probably of catching that.
And it was the short ball that brought it, as we were talking about. There's another one. This time just basically played in the wrong direction. or possibly it was miles outside off. We just can't quite tell from the angle we're standing. It's difficult to pick line. We're not seeing the camera behind the pitch directly, rather standing at 3/4 angle. As Belgium add another single, but it's just not going to do. It needs to start raining boundaries, and even if it did at this stage, I almost think it would be too late.
Yeah, certainly too late. We are currently 31 for 1, and that's the 12th over still ongoing. So 2 balls of the 12th over left. We have 8 overs and 2 balls to come, and 160 runs still needed. Sorry, 170 runs almost needed. From now on, it has to be more of a try and get some experience in, try to get some deliveries under your belt. And also in that spirit, I think Zara Sanz should start to hit it out at least, so that other batters can get some deliveries, can get some middle time, get to know the pitch, because this will be the more crucial for the second game. And that is another wide. Austrians are making it easy on themselves right now with the amount of extras, with the amount of wides. And I will bet my firstborn to say that we have extras as top scorer currently.
That's a big bet. Is there something we should know about? Is there a new arrival on the way? Your theoretical firstborn, then. Always much easier to bet on those. Now there's the short ball, and there's the short ball that gets punished, and finally we've seen one go to the boundary.
I think now is a good time to talk about the Austrian fielding placement. We have a so again, sorry to say, from here on, we cannot see from our positions where exactly the fielder, the number 25, stands. Well, this is a no man's land between the 30-yard circle and the rope. So the suggestion would be, of course, if you have somebody on the out, rather have him on the rope. That would have saved the boundary. Of course, the catching chance earlier in the over, the fielder stands for that 2 or 3 yards a bit too far away for this boundary. Then again, about 10 yards too close for comfort inside the boundary. So you have a fielder in no man's land, not really able to catch, not really able to block those boundaries. Have a push back onto the rope to make sure that no boundaries go through her, or have her come in, be on the circle, and try to be more aggressive and have a catch exactly those half chances that might come towards her if she were 5 yards outside the 30-yard circle. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree on that as far as a run-saving perspective is concerned, and how deep they all are. But having what looks from where we're standing something like 2 people on the square leg line, I do agree with that. With the bowler Nisha erring on the short side, which is a bit of a change compared to the other bowlers. As Sauj Chamundaya is set to continue now with the left armers. And Zara is ready as always, long in advance of the bowler starting her run-up. And beginning to swing those arms is probably just going to be the one. As Suraj mentioned, just in terms of letting some of the others have a go and get some experience, it will be good if she will take a few more risks, if for no other reason than that. This one is deliberately left, and rightly so, for a wide. Because now the focus really does realistically shift to the afternoon for both sides. The Austrian bowlers will possibly some will get a run out that might not have, just in terms of giving everyone, not so much giving everyone a go, but perhaps the captain might use bowlers a little differently, not necessarily give everyone full quotas, in terms of seeing this more as a as a preparation for the afternoon, with this game pretty much in the bag. What do you think on that, and also how the Belgians now can make best use of this middle practice as it is?
And absolutely rightly so. We already heard Andrea Mesepeda shouting from the boundary that the match is not over yet. Match ist noch nicht zu Ende, as she said, which is absolutely correct. The match isn't over yet. You're still trying to get something out of the match as the Austrian side, of course, and as the Belgian side. And from now on, the target is towards what are you trying to get out of the match? And for the Austrian bowling, certainly, again, fix your length, fix your lines. And we've seen against Italy, all 5 matches, at least 20 extras. We've seen probably here as well, 20 extras already. And we are 13 overs in, 12 and a half overs in. Chamundaya is bowling now her 6th delivery of the over, and 2 of those have been wides. You just cannot afford to give wides every 3rd or 4th ball that is being bowled. And there was indeed a good shot. Saw where the gaps were, saw the line early, and placed the ball towards fine leg, and no fine leg in this field setting currently, and takes a comfortable single in that case. And that was brilliantly bowled. Zara Zan's not able to connect on this one quite yet. And now Austria has pushed 4 fielders outside of the 30-yard circle. I am not sure if that is necessary.
Well, one of those fielders out on the ropes has a bit of a chase to do, but to no avail as we get another boundary. Well, it is almost raining boundaries now compared to the drought we were seeing earlier, as Sands picks up another one and is slowly getting into it. But yeah, you got to think about what realistically can be fixed before the afternoon. It's a hot day. Bowlers from both teams are going to be more tired. It may be one reason that Austria might not give everyone full spells. Potentially, that could be a consideration with another game coming up at 2:00. By the way, but skills, of course, are not something you're going to fix in this time. What you can do if you're Belgium, I think, is just you're missing aggression in the sittings. You want to have a look. Is there someone hiding at number 6, 7, 8 that we could push up the order next time? That, I think, is what you could achieve with these last few overs.
Absolutely correct. I think this is indeed something you would want to have a look at. Put in number 6, 7, 8. Maybe even just shuffle around the batting lineup for the next match. Bring in your 6, 7, 8 up top. Even if wickets fall, you still have your openers from this match who can steady the ship a little bit. And in Austria's case, Austria needs to have a look at what the field setup is, how and where they want to put the field for the bowlers, and especially for these types of batters. The batters are not certainly the ones where you need a very deep field. The boundaries that we've seen would have been preventable even if you had just close-up fielders stopping the singles. And Monica, in this case, perfect on a line and length. The strike from Belgium, Shweta Sinha, no chance to connect on that one. And she's yet to connect also handsomely with the bat. She will have a go, of course. Has to have a go, similar to what Zara Sands has been doing. And now she has a go, but straight to Chamundaya in the covers, who gets a hand to it and prevents probably 2 or 3 more runs. And just a single taken. Now Saracens back on strike. And if you have any comments, questions, keep them coming in the YouTube live chat. And a good delivery. Umpire disagrees. He wants, again, some shoulder and arms practice. Might want to hit the gym instead. Another wide given. That's the 21st wide of the Austrian bowling inning. And just a reminder, we are at 54-1 for Belgium. So 21 of those have been wides.
Which rather backs up what you said, that you don't need fielders in the deep. We've had just 20-something runs off the bat so far. So a tight ring could force them to try and go over the top and possibly lead to bowling them out, at least in the second game, if there were a change of tactics.
Yeah, Austria needs to really have a play from the playbook of the Germans from last year. Germany against Austria. Germany saw what was in front of them. They restricted Austria really well in that they just clamped down on the batters. The fielding was in. We had a silly leg. We had a silly cover. We had bat pad almost kind of fielding. So if the batters are already cramped for space and are feeling restricted, they will try to go for these shots. And even then, especially then, catching really becomes catching practice. And what we're seeing today is the field is being pushed out unnecessarily, as we've seen probably 25, 26 runs off the ball, off the bat. And we are at 54-1 after 14 overs. And the second half of this bowling inning has been a bit, feels a bit longer than the first half has been.
Yeah, that could just be the sun beating down. That could just be the sun beating down on us, and the fact that the result here is not in any doubt whatsoever. Hence us philosophizing a little bit on things, and of course looking ahead to the second game, which is a fresh start for everybody. It's worth reminding anyone listening, this is Belgium's first ever Women's T20 International. So before you judge too harshly, the learning curve is, well, steeper than a roller coaster in the Prater, which is a very old and venerable amusement center in the center of Vienna. And they will improve on some things in the afternoon. It is well, like I said, you can't make major improvements to skill, but saying that, when it's your first ever game, you probably can brush up on a few small things even on the same day before your second.
We have to feel if the awareness of the batters is dropping already. A clear overthrow chance or misfield chance here available, and not a single taken. But this time, Chamundaya bowls it. Good shot off the bat as well. I did see it go 4 already, but the Austrian number 20 making sure that it stays in the lower digits, and just 1 run taken off this delivery. Number 27, I'm being corrected. Hard to see from the angle. Catching opportunity, and it's a catch. So, Bushra takes a catch of Chamundaya, and Saracens has to depart. After a long innings from her, she has provided some stability on the one end, but with trying to accelerate, she has to depart. Next striker in has to show her number yet to us is number 16. That is Nikita Varma coming onto the strike, but facing will be. Nikita Varma will be facing the strikers. The batters did not cross.
Yeah, there was some very neat timing. You were just talking about some good fielding by Maleke in the deep there, and I was about to say the ground fielding has been noticeably better from Austria than from the Belgians. And then the very next ball, we were allowed to make the neat point that the catching has also been better as Bushra pouched that one. And let's not forget the catch that was taken off a free hit. So a pretty clean record with the catching, at least with let's say the sitters from the Austrians, who have outfielded Belgium pretty comprehensively so far, without needing to be world beating. There has been the odd little mistake, but particularly the ones that have been cannoned into the deep, I would say they've been fumbled or missed by Belgium earlier. At least those have been well looked after and shepherded in by the Austrian fielders in the deep. At the moment, we have Maleke out at long on and Johan Stiglitz at long off. This is given by the square leg umpire, so that is the third wicket down and a wicket for the left arm bowling of Sujam Undaya. Celebrations all round from Austria. No handshakes, of course, in these times, but an ankle tap on both sides. And we await the arrival of the next Belgian batter. We thought that possibly the departure of Zara Sands would let us at least have a look at what else Belgium has to offer. Well, we've seen a little bit already, and next one's on the way. Is that Anya Bairstow? We'll confirm in just a second.
But again, if you have a look in of the context of this wicket, the delivery earlier of that was it dropped just shy of square leg, well, 5 yards in front of square leg, and in discussing that, if we really push for close fielding, for attacking field, that catch is taken. The next is stumping, a hat trick missed. Anya Bairstow coming onto the field, number 10, and of course she will be taking the strike, last ball of the over for Chamundaya. Can she strike another? That is the big question.
Well, we better hope that her partner Nikita Vam is quick between the wickets, because Anya certainly was noticeably fleet of foot in the outfield. Told me during the break that she does play football as well, so that's probably where the sprinting abilities come from. She's also charges in on that run up. So look for some speed between the wickets here, at least from one end. Well, in the end, that was a cagily discussed and ultimately declined single. As the over comes to a conclusion, at 57 for 3, we've got 5 more of them to go.
On that call on the last run, it almost felt there was a discussion in the middle of for the batters, and they rather decided to just return to the crease to their each ends, and we have now coming into the attack Johan Stiglitz. Right arm leg-ish spin. And with that, we are in the last 5 overs of this Belgium inning. Austria certainly hungry for more wickets. Belgium certainly hungry for some more runs. Oh, Joanne was just moving towards long off. Andrea Mesepeda coming in to finish a quota for today. Not for today, of course, but for this match. She will have another go in the next match, of course. Another 4 overs coming her way. First delivery, Andrea going against the number 16 from Belgium. That's Nikita Varma. Lines up her guard and awaits patiently. And a good hit. Goes for 1. Well fielded in the outfield, but again, pushing this field closer prevents exactly this single.
It would indeed, and as we said a minute ago, the fielders are going to have to be extra watchful now. So we've got a couple of new batters, both with just 1 or 2 to their name, and we are looking for potential for later. That's the big talking point here as the Austrians continue to just work on tidying up their bowling. There's not really a lot wrong with the good balls they've bowled. It's just a case of eliminating the wides, so getting into that rhythm and trying to keep that going for later. This one's up in the air, but it's going to fall safe, and they will not take a run. Well, it really is turning into quite an uncharacteristically hot day for late September. The Belgians will not be used to anything like this back home at this time of year. It does happen in Central Europe sometimes. You get an absolute corker like this one. Where are the gaps in the field? Well, there's a very large one in the covers. If you can turn it around in the direction of fine leg, you have another gap there. And if you can push it straight, you've got a single. Or you can just scoop it up to point and hope they drop it, which is the case on this occasion. So that probably does go down as a sitter that Austria have let go, unless you can blame it on the sun, which is not impossible from that angle.
Point felt rather as they overshot the ball and had to step back a little bit to be in catching position. So certainly that makes it difficult to catch. Yeah, good ball again. Good length. Keeper collects it. And with that, it's over. Andrea Mesepeda finishes off her 4 overs. And goes wicketless, which will be, of course, as more annoying because of that dropped catch at point.
On the other hand, she does have a century to console herself with, which is always good to have, I'm told.
Yeah, neither of us would know about any centuries being scored, so at least probably that is still in her head as well, of course. And to finish the day off with a wicket would have been even more nicer for her. Right, it's Chamundaya again. I reckon this is also her last over. Coming in over the wicket, and that is called a wide. Has to work on the line. Is certainly a very efficient bowler if the line is right. And exactly these kind of shots are being played from or off her bowling, and certainly able to just go for the 1s and 2s here and now, but also dangerous enough with lack of the pace on the ball that batters feel as they are tempted or in control, and then of course they go for some shots, and that's how she collects 2 wickets in an over.
Oh, Bushra was in business for a second catch of the innings, but unfortunately this one went down. Unlucky on that occasion, but it's not going to make a great difference in the big scheme of the match. It does give the Belgian batters another chance to spend more time in the middle. And like you say about the field and all these deep fielders, I really don't like looking at long off. That is Joanne, in front of us, Joanne Stieglitz. So deep, and you've got these batters who are having a chance to having a couple of overs to build some confidence for later, and you're giving them an easy single down the ground. Not that we've seen a lot of people take easy singles down the ground, to be fair.
At least with the dropped catches, the Austrian the Austrian team bank gets some couple of bucks per drop. If they have, of course, fines for these kind of things, which absolutely they should have, as one does. And another good delivery from Chamundaya. And 2 deliveries to go. And with that, square leg umpire is coming around for whatever. Oh, the bails have come off. That's the reason. Of course, we saw that right away, that the bails were off. And square leg gets some workout as well. And smacked. And that is a well-deserved 4 off this delivery. And that's another thing. Your deep fielding is not where it should be for the deliveries that are being bowled, but rather some sort of predetermined field setups. And they're not changing at all for the bowlers as well. And we know we sound like a stuck record, but we would just bring the field in and be attacking always.
But then this is part of the learning experience. Captaincy, as much as anything in cricket, is all about time in the middle, and there's precious little of that for the Austrian ladies cricketers. There isn't a league as such with regular competition on the domestic front, so this is some of the only serious game time that they get. So it's a rare chance to practice captaincy as much as anything else. And I'm sure that it's one of the things that will be looked at along with Coach Quinton Norris at the end of the game, and things that can be looked at for next time, potentially. And it is a unique situation, of course, having 2 games in one day at international level. That is pretty rare. But we are talking amateur cricket here, and people have jobs and, in some cases, school to get back to on Monday. So you've got to squeeze them into the weekend as much as you can. As Malika continues with a rhythm that seems to be getting better and better from the count end. I think this might be her last over. And once again, Shweta fails to get bat on ball with that one. We're just counting down the deliveries really here. Still, we got the 2 square-leggish fielders in place. One just on the edge of the circle, and Valentina Avdulai in the deep. Almost on the rope, but as we discussed earlier, not quite. Umpire's having a good long look at that, but... Oh, and at the very last second, he thinks, I've got to do it. I've got to call this wide. And he does. Long delay on that one. But it's got to be bowled again, which is what we're seeing now. Really, really positive shouting from the non-striker. That's the first time today I've heard a call from a batter from out here on the boundary, which, considering there are no spectators as such making a noise here, suggests that calling in general could have been louder today. You got to say, the Belgians are quite disciplined with their leaving. Again, if it was another format, you might be impressed.
If it was another format, we'd be here a bit longer than till 5 o'clock in the evening. And really good deliveries as well from Monica Singh. So the 27 really on it. and impressing with her bowling, and the Belgian batters just trying to make all sorts of meaning out of her deliveries and out of balls. And a good stop, but a catching possibility again. And love or hate to repeat myself in that case. Bring the field up, that's a catch, and that's a wicket.
Well, I suppose as our attention turns to the afternoon, are we going to be stuck records on that this afternoon as well, or do we think we're going to see a change? I'm sure you'll be having a word to the coaching staff at half-time if I know you. Looks like Valentina is marking out her run again. Valentina Avdulai. One of 3 Avdulai sisters who actually have been around the Austrian women's cricket setup in recent times. Last summer against Germany, there were actually 3 of them in the squad, but the other 2 are not around at the moment, and Valentina has become the standout as new ball bowler and, of course, death bowler now.
So Valentina doing a bit of a job opening and being the key bowler to go for in the death overs. And as we're in the 19th over now, of course, Valentina with her last over for this match. And bowls a really great delivery just above the chest height for the batter and goes through to the keeper. She's really come into her bowling as well. Remember seeing her against Germany, very, very persistent, very shy a little bit as well. And now she has really come into herself against Italy and of course today. I really enjoy watching her bowl. Basically, it's a delight.
Yeah, particularly enjoyable seeing that one that just got up to chest height there. There was a bit in that. Sometimes it comes out a little bit floaty occasionally, but you see that ball that it doesn't need to. When she really bowls with confidence, she can make it really nip out the hand. And yeah, we just want to see more of that, and that's what she's working on all the time.
A couple of things that I really enjoy from Valentina, especially how she grips the ball firstly, and then just slings it out of her 2 fingers, and with that, just that natural in-swing action coming into play. And if the ball is new, if you're on top as she bowls the first over of Austrian innings, she just gets it to swing. In this case, misses her length a little bit. Umpire still not really calling for a no ball, so that will be classified as a full toss. And Valentina really the kind of bowler that really needs to put the ball at a full length and have it nip in or away from that, and she can land it on the seam, as you can see here. Interesting shout, and a run-out chance missed. That was, but these are learnings that Austria will have to do for the second match as well. And it seems that was the second last over for this match. We are entering into the last over, 73 for 3 wickets. That means Belgium will need roughly 125 runs off the last over. That is 125 required run rate.
Going to stick my neck out and say I'm not expecting that to happen, and I'm eyeing the lunch truck, as we all should be after a long morning in the sun. We haven't been running around, but standing with a microphone is tough too. Who's going to take the last over now?
Standing around with the mic for 3 hours does remind me of Bruce Springsteen concerts. The boss, of course, likes a long concert, and I think I was at a Boss concert once, and then that one went for 2.5 hours, and I've never been to a music concert that went for 2.5 straight hours of one performer. No supporting act, nothing else. Just Springsteen going for 2.5 hours, and no ball called. Joanne Stiglitz bowling her first over for this day, and this is also the last over for the inning. Free hit, and of course it wouldn't be a bowler without any extras. Makes it back into a crease, but a stumping chance, rather a close stumping chance, but batter was rather comfortably back as well.
Good to get Joanne into the game after not having had much to do with the bat earlier, or not having anything to do with the bat. She is, of course, one of the senior members of this team. And I believe she is the vice-captain of this Austrian setup as well, under the current arrangement, with Gandali behind the stumps, ultimately calling the shots.
One thing already that's impressed me from the Austrian women's national cricket team is that the fielding efforts have improved uncomparably to what they did against Germany, for example. The throws from these girls are fantastic. They are on spot, on target. Of course, catches will be dropped or are dropped today, but if you have a look at how the ball is collected and is being thrown back to the keeper or the bowler, and how aware the backing up is, that's just the little things that you don't regularly see on these streams, but these impress, especially compared to let's say a year and a half ago. So well done, Austrian women.
Yep, it starts with the little things, and it doesn't matter really if you're in Nepal, Papua New Guinea, Brazil. You can always learn how to field. This should really be a run out. Whether it is or isn't is going to be fairly immaterial in the context of the match. I didn't see a finger go up, did I? Nope, not out. So a reminder as we head into the last ball or two of this doomed chase. Last ball, barring a wide or a no ball. It's going to be a quick lunch break because the next game is at 2, and that is only just over 2:30. 2:30 is the next game, I stand corrected. That's good. That's more digestion time for all of us. And there is indeed a wide, so we're going to have another delivery before lunch. But the point I'm trying to make is that you want to be back here at 2:30. Don't think that the cricket's over for the day. There is another Women's T20 International. As this one falls safe, they'll grab a single, barring a direct hit, and that is that. It is going to be fascinating to see how Belgium can respond, what they can improve on this afternoon after they've now completed their first ever T20 International at women's level. The Austrian team come together to celebrate a comprehensive win by well over 100 runs. Plenty to celebrate for them there. We will see you again at 2:30 this afternoon for the second of these 3 T20 Internationals.